All right, welcome to the latest edition of the Athlete Spotlight. We are here with Reece Lerner, one of our athletes who's been training with us for a while. He is a rising junior at Bayside High School. He's on the varsity baseball team, right-handed pitcher. He also recently joined a club team, the Batting 1000 Seminoles. And he's going to tell us how many batters he's going to mow down this coming season when he finally gets back on the field. So, Reece, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
You got it, man. So first question, let's get the important stuff out of the way. Who's your favorite pitcher? Favorite major league pitcher?
Mariano Rivera.
Mariano Rivera. Okay, that's not a bad one. Now, you're a starting pitcher, correct?
Yeah.
Do you aspire to be the Sandman someday?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Yeah.
What about your favorite active major league pitcher?
Favorite active is probably like Clayton Kershaw.
Okay. What do you like about his pitching style?
He's a lefty. His curveball. He doesn't throw that fast, but he has that good location and good off speed.
Do you ever wish you were a lefty?
Yeah. It's a lot better, I think.
Yeah. Well, listen, depends on how hard you throw, and then, like you said, how good your location is. So,
yeah.
My understanding is you throw the ball pretty hard. Do you know what you've topped out at in terms of velocity?
In the fall, in a scrimmage, I topped out at like around 70.
Wow.
But I haven't been clocked since then, so I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Now I understand your travel team recently started some workouts.
Yeah.
After a few months of, kind of being on the sideline. How tough was that for you? How did you approach that? I know you love baseball. I know you love pitching. How was that to just not be able to play?
It was kind of difficult because I'm used to you're in a routine of after school. After school, I used to go home, eat, go straight to baseball, and then kind of it just all stopped. And then I was then just hitting in the backyard, throwing in the backyard. It was weird. I wasn't out on the field with my coach, my teammates. It was harder to get like the work in. Yeah, and it was.
What did you miss most about being around your coaches and teammates?
Just like having fun and like the advice they would give and the help they would give, because you don't know what you're doing wrong when you're by yourself.
Yeah, coaching is really important. You're absolutely right. Besides just kind of, I assume you like hit into a net in the backyard, like get off a tee or like maybe some soft toss, maybe throwing a few pitches. What did you do other than that to kind of stay in shape, stay strong, even get stronger?
I did the classics with Asia. I've been meeting with my pitching coach every now and then when we could. And I've just been working out at home.
What do you think if you were coaching you, what do you think would be the number one thing you would want to work on?
Probably my hitting and my off speed.
Your off speed pitches.
Yeah.
So as a pitcher, what's your bread and butter? You just bring the heat, or are you more of a crafty guy?
I have a 4-seam, a 2-seam, a changeup, and I'm working on a curveball. And usually I rely on a 2-seam because it has more movement than the 4-seam, and I rely on my changeup because it has a drop. And I'm still working on my curveball, but when I get my curveball good, I'm going to rely on that because that has a nice drop to it, and it's a hard pitch to hit.
Nice. Yeah, you got to have a lot of tools in your toolbox. You got to be able to get hitters out. What would you say has been your best accomplishment as a pitcher? The thing that you're proudest of, whether it's a moment, an inning, a batter you blew away, or
probably once when the game was when we were up by 1, and it was 3-2 bases loaded, and I struck him out.
Nice.
And we won the game, so that was good.
Nice. Yeah, pitching. I mean, both my boys played Little League baseball at some point. When you're young, just coming up in baseball, pitching is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
What does that feel like to you, and how do you deal with it?
I kind of like enjoy the pressure. It like puts you in like circumstance where you want to do good and you don't want to mess up, and like it's kind of good pressure because you want to do good.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever have one of those innings where nothing's going right? You have no control or command. What does that feel like?
It just feels like you totally lost and you can't pitch anymore. And that happened to me numerous times. And then you just kind of have to get on the bench, like just settle down and just get back out there and try to do your best next inning.
Mm-hmm. Now back to your favorite pitcher of all time, Mariano. What do you think would be the difference between being a starting pitcher and being a closer? Which one do you think you would prefer and why?
I prefer being a starter pitcher because I feel like you get more innings in. Like you can pitch like 6 to 7 innings. A closer really only pitches like 2 to 3. And like I feel like as a starting pitcher, like it's cool to get that. It's cool to give the lead to the closing pitchers and feel like you did something and like you're not coming. And I feel like as a closing pitcher, you have a lot more pressure if you're coming in when you're down. You don't want to like make the deficit further.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what's your approach? Do you follow the lead of your catcher in terms of what he wants to call? Do you kind of call your own game? How do you go about that?
Sometimes the coach calls the pitch to the catcher, and depending on the circumstance, I usually follow the catcher. But if I'm feeling like I'd rather throw another pitch, I'll shake him off. But usually I rely on the catcher.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How old were you when you realized you were really good at throwing a baseball?
I mean, I started Little League when I was like 4 or 5, and I always noticed I was kind of good. Like I was always picked for like the all-star game and everything, and I always knew I had like one of the stronger arms on the team, and I usually play like third base and pitcher, and then I noticed like third base wasn't so much for me. It was like pitcher, and then since I had a strong arm, they kind of moved me to outfield, so I was like pitcher outfield. So right around as I was growing up, and I noticed I had a stronger arm, that's when I decided to like pitch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So as we kind of slowly creep back toward normal life here, what do you look forward to the most about putting on a uniform and walking out to the mound and doing it again?
Just to having fun and being with my teammates and winning games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is there something about the long layoff that worries you, that maybe if you haven't been pitching and as consistently as you normally would, or that maybe you'll lose a little command, or maybe you have a tendency to hurt your arm? Or
I feel like I'm gonna come back a little rusty, but even though I've been working, it's probably not as much as if I was out on the field with my team. But I feel like I might come back a little rusty, but I just need to get the hang of it and keep working, and then I think I'll be back to normal.
Mm-hmm. So you have with your travel team, do you have games and tournaments, scheduled for the summer?
Well, like I told you before, we had practice Monday. We have practice upcoming Monday, Wednesday. A lot of the tournaments got canceled, so we're not 100% sure of like what we're playing and stuff. But the coach, we're probably going to talk about it at practice.
Mm-hmm. So whenever you get back on the field, whether it's with your travel team over the summer or whether it's at Bayside next spring, next season, what kind of goals have you set for yourself for this upcoming year?
So I definitely, for this upcoming year, I definitely want to increase the speed of my fastball. I definitely want to get my off speed better. So I'm more confident to throw it and I have more command over it, just to be a better pitcher overall.
Mm-hmm. Last one. This is probably going to be the toughest one. First of all, Yankees or Mets?
Yankees.
You're a Yankee fan.
Yeah.
So if you had to, and I asked your friend Noah, who was a guest on the show a few weeks ago, if you had to choose, let's say tomorrow, the governor said everyone can go back to doing what they were doing, it's over, and you had to choose, you could either go play a game with your team and be the starting pitcher, or you could go to a Yankee game and sit in the front row. Which would you want?
Play a game with all my teammates and friends.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Even if you had front row seats?
because that's what I miss the most, like being on the field with them and having fun.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, it will happen again. Baseball will be back. You will be back. And I'm glad to hear that, I know you've been working out with us and getting stronger and getting better, and that's great. And I'm glad to hear you've been, getting some swings in and getting some pitches in your backyard. And, you got practice coming up. So you'll be back at it, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
You got it, Reece.